Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Hoporenkv Native American podcast, where we discuss focused topics within tribal housing and self-determination. I'm Brooke, Warrington, the Training and Development Specialist here at the NLC. And with me is Ouista Atkins, the Training and Development Coordinator. And today we'll be talking about a development to solve Chicago's native housing problem. We have a special guest here with us today, Shelly Tucciarelli. She's a member of the Turtle Clan of the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin and the founder and director of Visionary Ventures, which is a Native American nonprofit with an over 51% Native American board. So let's go ahead and get started. Shelly, can you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Absolutely. Yes, as you mentioned, I'm Shelly Tucciarelli and tribal member of the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin. And I serve as the executive director for Visionary Ventures. And previous to that, I worked for Illinois Housing Development Authority for over 20 years, financing affordable housing for the entire state of Illinois. But unfortunately, we do not have any federally recognized tribes, so I wasn't able to do any housing for our Native American community.
Before we discuss your housing project that has been described as being 50 years in the making, can you provide some background on the history of Native American housing in the city of Chicago, specifically the Chicago Indian Village in 1971 through 1972?
Oh, absolutely. But before I start about that, I just want to give a little history of Native Americans in Illinois in general. In the 1920s, there was the Indian Removal Act, which essentially removed all Native Americans from the state of Illinois. And then in the 1950s, there was the Indian Relocation Act that brought a lot of Native Americans off the reservations into urban areas. And Chicago was one of the relocation cities. So, we all say that there's so many, all Native Americans live on reservations, but they don't. In reality, only about 30% live on reservations, and the other 70% live in urban areas. And so in the 1970s, once all the Native Americans were in the city of Chicago with the promise, they were given a $100 and a one-way bus ticket to Chicago, with the promise of housing and services and jobs. And once they got there, again, there was no services, there was no housing, and there were some jobs. So a lot of the community members were able to get jobs, but about 30% did end up going back to the reservation. And so in about 1970s, there was this encampment where they put the teepees up and were advocating for affordable housing for the Native American community. And again, in order for them to disband, the city, Chicago, and the state promised housing for the Native American community. And again, that was over 50 years ago.
So this project that you're working on now is definitely historically significant. What are the current statistics regarding Native American housing in the city of Chicago today in 2023?
Oh, yes, this is definitely history in the making. The current statistics show that 3 out of 5 Native Americans in Chicago are renters, and 50% of those are rent burdened. So affordable housing for our Native American community is essential for our community.
Just to ask up a little more about it, how did this new housing project come to be? And what specifically occurred within the city of Chicago officials' decision making?
Well, one of the things I like to do is definitely commend our housing director at the time. It was Marissa Navarro and Cindy Soto. They actually took an area of view of what housing that they've done and what communities they've done housing for. And they realized that the Native American housing has not been completed. So they reached out to the American Indian Center. And of course, they reached out to me because been in affordable housing for 30 years. And so I'm our housing guru. And that just started the process and the meetings. And we were able to get the low-income housing tax credits through the city of Chicago. And that is what's making this project complete.
Did you partner with anyone on developing this project?
Oh, absolutely. This project would not be moving forward without the partnership and the joint venture with Full Circle Communities. I was actually on their board for over 6 years, so I saw their mission. I saw the wonderful developments that they produced, and their model is that 75% of all of their economic income goes back into their developments for services, and that's something that affordable housing. You really can't provide that housing without that services. So it was a model that we really could join in on. And so their mission was very similar to ours.
How exciting. And it's even more exciting when you can get more partners involved, because it just makes it bigger and the word gets out faster. What are the culturally relevant attributes of the location itself in Irving Park?
Oh, one of the reasons that we chose Irving Park and Albany Park was because that's where a lot of our tribal community services are located. We have the American Indian Center, the Native American Health Services, American Indian Health Services of Chicago, and also St. Terry Centers just on Irving Park, not too far. The river is only about a mile away, and we know how much water means to our Native American community. And we also have Horner Park, which is just a few blocks away, and one of our artists, Santiago X, is doing a mound project there, which will be open hopefully by the end of this year. And then by the time our project opens, our residents will be able to take a walk over and look at that art installation.
Oh, that's so cool. We read in our research that the metaphor of the river itself is being incorporated into the building design. Can you speak more to that, what that means?
Yes, absolutely. Like I mentioned, water means everything to our Native American community, and being close to the river, we wanted to bring that aspect into the building. We're working with Canopy, and our architect, and Jaime Torres has been very instrumental in helping us develop this concept. And part of the design is the balconies, and instead of them overlooking Irving Park Road, they're facing east towards the river, towards the lake, and so that sunrise will come up. And then also the front of the building, it's going to look like water running through and then going north and going south, like the north and south branches of the Chicago River.
That's so beautiful. I love how thoughtful the planning design was, not just a beautiful building, but something that's going to be, spiritually significant to those living within it. That's amazing.
Yes, we put as many cultural attributes as we can into the design of the building. We've also put together a Native American community advisory council that we're meeting with on a monthly basis and helping to provide input on the exterior design, the interior design, the commercial space, who we put in for the commercial space, the community space, and also the services that we're going to be bringing in.
I also saw in my research there is going to be something significant with the rooftop part of the design. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes, we are planning to do a green roof. And one of our advisory council members works with the Cook County Forest Preserve. So he's helping to design the seed mix. So we want to put some of our medicines up on the roof so we can watch it grow and be part of it. And we also are putting in an artist room up on the 7th floor. And this artisan room, we know a lot of our community members have side hustles. They're doing their beadwork, they're sewing their regalia. Instead of it being all over their kitchen table, we want to provide a space where they could come up and work together and share ideas and have that space.
In other words, it sounds like you're creating a home, like a home for everyone to feel like themselves and welcomed.
Yes, community within community.
Yes, and I love that. For our viewers who watch our webinars, I'm not sure if anybody remembers, because I certainly do, but you used to talk about this project and you were so excited, and you would talk about different ideas that you could do for your housing. And I remember you talking about, well, we're doing our balconies a certain way so we can sage. And I thought that was just amazing. And now we're fast forward to here, and I'm hearing all these other incredible, and growing your medicine. That's amazing. I mean, what does it feel like, being able to come up with these ideas and then seeing them happen and making it happen? What does that process feel like?
It's an absolute dream come true. And, this doesn't happen overnight. So I understand, we've been working on this project for 5 years, but anything that's good and great takes time. And we are being very thoughtful on our design elements. And again, a lot of our affordable housing developments do not have balconies. But that was one of the things that I said must be in part of the design, because a lot of buildings now are non-smoking, but we burn our sage. So we want to be able to have that balcony to be able to do that. And with them facing east and having the sun come up in the morning, it just a new beginning. There's just so much thought that's been put into it. And we're very happy about how the process has been going.
I think Ouista said it perfectly with not just creating a home, but creating a home that's designed for tribal members to get to be themselves, to get to have their practices. That's amazing. Where are you currently in the development process of this project?
Well, we are now looking to close. We had a mayoral change, so that always, will upset the timeline a bit. But looks like we're going to be closing in April of next year. And we're already working with our general contractor and hoping that they will be able to begin soon thereafter in May. And then it's about a 16 month construction period. So we'll be opening in 2025. So one of the things that we know we need to do because there's so many barriers in our community. So we want to start, we've already started an interested persons list. So we want to start working with those potential residents to make sure, do you need help with your credit? Do you need help, saving for the deposit, furnishing your place? So we want to start doing those hand-on case by case steps right now before, we don't want to wait 2 months before and then find out that somebody can't get in because of their credit. So we want to be very proactive. And I just wanted to give a few more elements of the development. We're going to have studios, 1s, 2s, and 3-bedroom units because we want that intergenerational housing. And we realized we've had several community meetings, and one of the things that we talked to with some of the parents and some of the children is that they may be the only only Native American child in their classroom. This way we'll have those 3-bedroom units with all those children going to the same school. So we're just so happy about maybe being able to have some after school programming so that they all are interacting together. We've already met with the elementary school, the principal and the vice principal, and they're so excited to have our children be attending. So we've just been doing a lot of pre-work to make sure that this is going to be a very successful development.
It warms my heart hearing that, especially with the children, because our children and elders are so important. And so to hear that you're thinking of every little step, I mean, it's just truly incredible. And to make sure that your children are still being embraced by the community. So like you may not go to a Native school now, but eventually you will. And just to have that when you come home and have an environment where you can watch your medicine being grown, and this is why we sage, and the balconies are on the east side because this is why, like, you're constantly incorporating ways to keep the community alive. So you're creating like a better quality of life essentially. And so it's so much more than just a home or a 3-bedroom. It's a better quality of life. It's a better way of life. So I'm so happy for you guys. And I just hope that more states are able to do this, or more people are able to create these wonderful homes that you have been able to do.
Yeah, one other thing that we're definitely looking at is that commercial space on the first floor. It will be, we're outreaching to Native American nonprofits. We're looking at a workforce development nonprofit right now, because having that there will actually be so beneficial to our residents. So we're very happy about that piece. And again, the community space. And one of the other things we did, because we have it's a vacant lot right now, so we have a fence around it. So one of the things we thought, let's put some Native American art on the fence. So we're doing this fence art installation, and we're working with St. Kateri Center with their youth program, because they provide youth and elder programs. And I said, let's bring our youth in so they feel part of this community too and part of this building. So they've designed this wonderful, like the beginning of water, why water is so important. And it's kind of a Southwest thing, but it's wonderful. And so there's 3 panels, and then it has an explanation about it. And then we're also going to have there's like 5 or 6 youth, and we're going to have their names and their tribal affiliation on the fence too, so they feel really part of this project. And we're digitizing it so that we can use it maybe as part of our marketing. Some of that art can become part of the community space upstairs, so their art will continue to be part of this development.
That's incredible. So just like Ouista said, you're making sure that there's incorporation within every step. So it's like they know it's going to be home sometime in the near future, but even before that starts, you're already getting to like leave your mark on it, leave your name on it, leave your culture on it. That's really, really amazing. Do you have a message to others who are hoping to facilitate similar housing projects, or even just those who don't yet have something like that in their area?
Yes, don't stop. Don't stop. You got to keep advocating and keep applying for those resources. You may not get them in the first round, but go ahead and keep applying for those resources. There's so many, and make sure that you're reaching out to your state housing agency, financing agencies who have the low-income housing tax credits. Make sure you're starting those relationships and talking about the projects that you want, because they have many resources that they could apply to your project.
Any other words that you would like to share with our viewers?
Just that it's so important to have these public-private partnerships, because it really makes these projects happen. And again, you have to be in it for the long haul, because they don't happen overnight.
Thank you so much, Shelly. You truly are amazing. And like I said, when I first started working here and I was able to help facilitate your webinars, it was just truly incredible and fascinating hearing about it. And then once again, being able to just have you on the podcast talking about it is like, what? And by 2025, it's going to be done. And I can't wait to have you back here to talk about it. So thank you so much for all that you do for Indian country. And thank you for being able to be on the podcast today to discuss, and hopefully we'll have you back. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks to Shelly Tucciarelli for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the episode. As always, thanks for listening to the Hoporenkv Native American podcast. If you enjoy our show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Also visit our website, www.nativelearningcenter.com, to find information on upcoming webinars and virtual trainings. Be sure to come back for more content.